He took down the realm of Arnor. He stabbed Frodo Baggins on Weathertop. He is the top commander of Sauron's army. He is the Witch-king of Angmar. Hello and welcome to the Broken Sword. Today we are looking at the full journeys of the Witch-king.
Build me an army worthy of Morgul.
This is a style of video today that I did try a couple of years back, but not something that I have yet revisited since we started the Broken Sword channel. So I thought, what better time than the present? So let's try a full journey video mapping out the paths trodden by different characters. And to jump into this, let us go into that pool of evil with the Witch-king of Angmar. I hope you enjoy, and off we go. This journey begins at a vague date, for it was sometime around the sack of Eregion in 1697 of the Second Age, when Sauron first gave the 9 Rings of Power as gifts. These men would become the 9 Nazgul, and of those, as claimed in The Lord of the Rings A Reader's Companion by Wayne Hammond and Christina Scull, it says that 3 were from the lands of Numenor, of which one was most probably becoming the wraith later known as the Witch-king. In the same way that the mouth of Sauron was likely to be a descendant of these people too. But if you did wonder more about why men were given more, let us have a quick quote from the Silmarillion before we see the Witch-king's first appearance. Men proved easier to ensnare. Those who used the 9 rings became mighty in their day, kings, sorcerers, and warriors of old. They obtained glory and great wealth, yet it turned to their undoing. They had, as it seemed, unending life, yet life became unendurable to them. They could walk, if they would, unseen by all eyes in this world beneath the sun, and they could see things in worlds invisible to mortal men. But too often they beheld only the phantoms and delusions of Sauron, and one by one, sooner or later, according to their native strength and to the good or evil of their wills in the beginning, they fell under the thraldom of the ring that they bore and under the domination of the One, which was Sauron's. And they became forever invisible save to him that wore the ruling ring, and they entered into the realm of shadows. The Nazgul were they, the ring-wraiths, the enemy's most terrible servants. Darkness went with them, and they cried with the voices of death. So with that done, it was nearly 600 years after the first appearance of those rings that the Witch-king made his first appearance as one of the Nazgul, and this came in 2251 of the Second Age. However, none of his actions are really noted at this time, or even for the remainder of the Second Age at all, as in 3441, Mordor would fall, and with this defeat, all of the Nazgul disappeared into the shadows of the world for a long time. Which means the years would continue. In fact, it was more than 1,000 years before the Nazgul appeared again. Middle-earth would pass into the Third Age, and they would finally show themselves again around the year 1300. At this time, while Sauron began to rebuild his power in Dol Guldur, the Witch-king begins to establish himself in his realm of Angmar to the north, founding Khand Dûm as its capital, with the intention of taking down Arnor as he saw it as an easier target than Gondor. By 1349, the Witch-king infiltrated the leaders of Rhudaur, now controlling them in secret. Hostility was growing more and more within Arnor, so in 1409 he saw the time was right to strike with Rhudaur falling first. The Witch-king made an effort to hunt down and kill as many of the Dunedain as he could here, even using sorcerers in his army to achieve his plans. Cardolan was then heavily attacked, with the final siege taking place at the section of the Weather Hills known as Amon Sul. The Dunedain tried their best to put a defiant defense in here, but the Witch-king ended up victorious nonetheless. However, the Palantir that was here was not able to be taken by the Witch-king, for it was taken by survivors from Arthedain and taken to Fornost. The Witch-king continued to attack Arnor, making his way and now laying siege to Fornost. Victory was close, except reinforcements came by the hands of the elves led by Círdan of Lindon, as well as Elrond of Rivendell, and this caused the Witch-king to retreat back to Carn Dûn. The Witch-king would remain here for many years, waiting out the Great Plague of 1636 as it killed many of the Dúnedain of Cardolan. At this time, the Witch-king would also send Barrow Wight to inhabit the Barrow Downs on the border of the Old Forest. And yes, these are the same ones that the hobbits would encounter during the Fellowship of the Ring. The Witch-king was patient though, and it was not until 1974 that he finally saw himself as strong enough to gain victory. And so, in an attack that the enemy was not prepared for, the Witch-king attacked Fornost Irain, the capital of Arnor, and he took it with ease. With this defeat, and King Arvedui dying in a shipwreck while fleeing, the kingdom of Arnor had fallen. The Witch-king's confidence was now sky high to the point of overconfidence, for when a counterattack came from the surviving Dúnedain and the elves of Lindon, which even included some hobbit archers, the Witch-king rashly left his fortified defences to meet them on the plain between Nanunayal and the North Downs. This became known as the Battle of Fornost. The Witch-king was outfought here, and so he fled to Angmar once more, back to the safety of Carn Dûn. However, before he could reach his fortress, he was cut off by forces led by Arnor and Glorfindel. When faced with the power of the mighty hero of ages past, being the elf Glorfindel, the Witch-king fled, vanishing into the shadows where no one could follow. It was in fact here when Glorfindel made the prophecy of how the Witch-king would one day fall. He will not return to this land. Far off yet is his doom, and not by the hand of man will he fall. The Witch-king made his way to Mordor and regrouped with the rest of the Nine, biding their time for the next few years. Now in the year 2000, the Nazgul launched their siege on Minas Ithil, taking the city, with the Witch-king now becoming the Lord of Minas Morgul. He taunted Arnor, the now King of Gondor, for a second time in 7 years, and so Arnor rode to meet him face to face to take on the Lord of the Nazgul in one-on-one combat. The Witch-king would let Arnor ride through the gates, but he was never seen again. Many people believe that the Witch-king would deliver a Morgul wound to his enemy at this time, killing the short ruling king and bringing on the time of the stewards in Gondor. As Sauron declared himself in 2951, the Witch-king would remain in Minas Morgul. That was until, after Sauron had captured and tortured the creature Gollum, he sent all of the Nazgul, invisible and uncloaked, to hunt for the One Ring on the banks of the Gladden River, but to no avail. Sauron would next send the Nazgul to Isengard after hearing whispers of Saruman's intentions. They arrived too late to take the captured Gandalf, for he had escaped on Gwaihir just before. Saruman had fortified himself within Isengard, and the Witch-king knew that he did not have the power to overthrow Isengard with just what he had there, but he would still speak to the wizard. Saruman convinced him that they needed Gandalf to be able to find the Shire, and therefore the One Ring. So they made their way into Rohan to find the Wandering Grey Wizard. During their search, they interrogate Grima Wormtongue, who reveals everything he knows, which included Gandalf passing through Rohan and how Saruman had lied to them. From here, he split the Nazgul into 4 groups, and the Witch-king took the fastest of them to Min Hiriath, the lands between the Brandywine and the Gwathlo rivers. On their way, they found charts and maps of the Shire. As they reached Sarn Ford, they were stopped from crossing by the Dúnedain Rangers who protected those lands. However, they were unable to permanently hold off the Witch-king, and they eventually captured the ford, killing many Rangers. The Witch-king would then go east as he sent Camul and the 3 others into the Shire. After hearing from their spies in Bree, the Witch-king went south along the Greenway before discovering Gandalf. He let the wizard get ahead before attacking him on Weathertop. Gandalf escapes though, and once again the Witch-king splits his wraiths, sending 4 after the wizard, and the remaining are told to stay close. The hobbits and Aragorn then appear at Weathertop, and the Witch King stabs Frodo in the shoulder. They then retreat, believing that Frodo would turn shortly and bring them the One Ring willingly, and therefore their mission would be complete. It was just a matter of time. However, due to the assistance of Glorfindel, the Witch King became wary. They pursued Frodo until they reached the Ford of Bruinen, and despite feeling like victory had come, Elrond had commanded the river, and the Nine was swept away by the water. The Witch King managed to get back to Mordor, and then to Minas Morgul, where he prepared for the attack on Gondor. Sauron had been furious with their failure, but he was still his most trusted servant. On March 13, 3019, the Witch King led his force out of Minas Morgul, making for Minas Tirith. As he left, he actually sensed the presence of Frodo, who was really close by, but still, he continued with his army through Ithilien. Osgiliath would fall quickly, and they would push on to lay siege to Minas Tirith. The Witch King used his powers of sorcery to empower the battering ram Grond on the battlefield to break the gate of Minas Tirith with 3 almighty strikes. As he made to enter the city, he was met by Gandalf on Shadowfax. But before this battle of leaders could take place, the Witch King departed to deal with the reinforcements from Rohan, who had just arrived. They may have broken the gate, but no one stepped foot inside the city. He mounted his foul beast and made straight to take out King Theoden of Rohan. Theoden fell beneath his horse, but before the Witch King could kill him, he was defied by a soldier. This soldier turned out to be Eowyn. Although he initially had the upper hand, the hobbit Merry had snuck up behind him and stabbed him with a blade of Westerness, breaking the spells that kept his body and spirit together. And so, with a wail of great and horrendous pain, the Witch King met the fate that Glorfindel had prophesied. He was killed not by a man, but by the hands of a woman and a hobbit on the fields of Pelennor. So there we have it, the journeys of the Witch King of Angmar, the most terrible servant of the Dark Lord Sauron, the Lord of the Nazgul. He was once a man, assumed to be of Numenor, but he gave in to the will of Sauron, accepted a ring of power, and ended up living an unending life as a wraith. He was an incredibly powerful foe, to the point he felt that he could stand up and go toe-to-toe with Gandalf the White at the gates of Minas Tirith. Now, what the outcome of that may have actually been we will never truly know, but he sure was confident. He committed many horrendous deeds in the name of Sauron, and for that he was his most trusted servant. However, he never managed to complete that most important task, return the One Ring to his master, even when it was right under his sniffing hood. So, a great captain of war, a nearly indestructible being, a cunning strategist, yet he could not bring victory to the forces of evil. So this is where it is time for my question of the day, which is, what other journey videos would you like to see me do, if any at all? Would you prefer videos in this style on more of the bad guys, or maybe the good guys instead? Or like I said, maybe you just want me to leave this type of video alone. Let me know anything and everything you are thinking in the comment section below. And now it is time to shout out our patrons. You guys are the ones letting us be able to make our short film in the background of all things, and I really cannot thank you enough. First we have our Divine Power tier members of Kevin and Abram, you are both awesome. Then we have our Fire Demon tier members, Nashith, Denver Steel, and Gregory, you are incredible. And then we also have John, Andrew, and Jennifer as the Wizard Staff tier members. Every single one of you is a true legend of the Brohirrim. Finally, if you have managed to reach the very end of this video with me today and you have enjoyed what you've seen, then please consider hitting that subscribe button with all notifications ticked, as well as dropping a like on the video and maybe even give it a share somewhere if you really want to. So with that, thank you for your time today, and I will see you next time on The Broken Sword.